What's going on? This is Coach Markus Pro Fan Talk. And of course, everybody is talking about the Dianna, Russini, and Mike Vrabel situation that's going on. Um, the news came out today, spotting them at a hotel. And then, of course, everybody's kind of like, you know, this picture could be out of context. It could be anything. It could be 30 seconds from a 3 hour, I've said that before. You can't take 30 seconds out of a 3 hour conversation and think you have context. So it could be very innocent. It could not be very innocent. But through looking at the other stories in the page six, it where there's smoke, there's fire in this case, in my opinion. Because here's what I'll say. What with the so I read the one of the articles that talked about this, and they mentioned a hotel. So I go to the ambiente. This is it's called a landscape hotel, and tell me those are not the same. Um, let me see. Those are the same seats. They got an umbrella up, but look at the way they sitting in the pool. And this is the pool area. You see the area where they can put a umbrella in the middle. There's a little slot for the umbrella. Now I'm looking at this, and I could put two and two together. Right? Not a big pool. Clearly, the seats are arranged for couples. Let's keep it a buck. And even like if you look over here, look at the seats over here, groups of two, groups of two. So I mean, put two and two together, but not for nothing. Look at the rooms. I mean, this is a dope layout. I ain't gonna lie, but look at the rooms. Look at all of the rooms. Each room has a roof deck with a bed. They don't even have chairs on the roof, right? That's a bed. That's a fire pit. And you get like fake grass or whatever. This is like one long bench or whatever. Every room is like that. Every room is like that. The rooms are on the outskirts. Like it's not a lot of. So like I understand why it's like whatever that price was, 2,000 a night or whatever it was. Anytime you're dealing with the NFL and stuff like that, and you got long money, or even if it's personal, I don't know. But so based on and this is just me, based on the way this picture looks, whoever took that picture was probably right here somewhere. I don't know if you see my cursor is. Probably along this fence, walking along this fence, and managed to snap a picture. It doesn't look like that they were shooting the picture from another fence. It looks like they could have been walking along, and they're probably at this angle right here because these are the seats. It looks like it's this seat right here. So So whoever somebody had to be walking along this path right here. And this is close enough where you can see somebody in the seats and you can recognize who they are, especially if you're talking about like a famous person. So um yeah, I've never honestly, me personally, I've never heard of a landscape hotel, but I understand the theme of it. And this is dope. I ain't gonna lie. This is dope. I like the way it looks, like the privacy thing. But at the end of the day, as long as somebody's walking by, and I would imagine that that's the point of a place like this. Everybody in their own room. You're not in a shared building. You have common spaces, the pool, the dining area, indoor dining, the restaurant. I'm not even sure what this is. This little building over here. I don't know what that is. Maybe a sauna or something. I don't know. Coffee bar, perhaps. I don't know. But you got a little area over here. So it's you get the idea. Grown folks being grown is like what I like to say. So I don't know if there's fire that's gonna follow this smoke. Although um, I've been listening to I listened to a little bit of WIP and I just turned it off. So I don't know if they spoke on it. I've been watching NFL Network. I've been watching Good Morning Football, um, ESPN, Get Up. I have not seen anybody mention it. So I don't know if they're holding back on the story or what have you. So, but I thought it was interesting because if it had been anybody else, if it had been hell, if it had been Jalen Hurts at this resort with somebody other, if Jalen Hurts would have been sitting in that seat with his agent, Lord have mercy, people would have lost their shit. So this is very interesting to me. It's a very interesting situation. Um, Nowadays, and I would imagine if you paying for this type of um, if you paying for this type of environment, I would imagine part of their promotion is that you have a level of privacy, but that has nothing to do with the people that are on site. And you never know who you dealing with. You never know who you walking by, and you never know who is that asshole that'll walk by with their phone out like that and try to snap a picture of you because they're gonna sell it to TMZ or whatever and try to make their money. I don't know who took that picture. Clearly, they didn't think somebody was taking that picture. And I mentioned, I mentioned in the post, I was like, hotels like that. If you have clientele, NFL and I'm sure it's other maybe athletes, actors, pop stars, or whatever. I don't know. But if you charging that type of price, I am sure privacy is something that they probably promote. Because just look at the layout. I would imagine that you just not gonna walk in. You know what I'm saying? I'm imagining that, I can't get a full layout of it, but I'm gonna imagine that somebody from the public just can't walk onto the grounds and just walk around like they don't belong there. I would imagine that if you're paying that much money in a situation like this, I'm gonna imagine that there's some level of security around here. So, but the point is that somebody just ain't gonna walk in. Ain't no paparazzi just gonna be sitting on top of a mountain, you know, a mile away trying to take pictures. You know what I mean? So um, clearly, that picture was taken by somebody at the resort. So it's hard to tell. The big one looks like, well, honestly, both of them look like somebody was filming a video and they took still shots and they put this little collage together. So because it's very grainy, this looks like a high res video recording because of how blurry and grainy it is. So I don't know. But regardless of what they are or aren't doing, uh, I saw there was a post about a joint announcement. I don't know if I believe that because now everybody posts shit from created in AI or Chat GPT or something like that. I can jump on Gemini and post a thing and make it look like they said it. So you kind of take that with a grain of salt. But at the very least, especially with Dianna Russini and all the things that she's always on the radio here with WIP. I don't even know if WIP has spoke on this yet, but at the very least, um, that's a conflict of interest because she is always reporting on AJ Brown. She was always reporting on what's happening, and she's been one of the main, you know, reporters covering the AJ Brown situation. And is it a coincidence that she might be sleeping with Vrabel? Is that a coincidence? And she's always got this information and she's heard and her sources and things of that nature. What did I always tell you about this dude named Sources? So at the very least, the optics of this are horrible, extremely horrible, at the very least. So now it looks like Mike Vrabel has been, you know, leaking information to his girlfriend or his side piece or whatever you want to call it, because both of them are married. Dianna Russini, her husband is a Eagles fan. And she's been on TV before. She makes a joke of it, but when the Eagles lose or something like that, she's like, "Well, my husband hasn't said 2 words to me all day because the Eagles lost." She said that on national television before, and she said it in jest, but still, I'm saying it from the point of this is a major story involving the Philadelphia Eagles and the Patriots, and you seen at a hotel sitting in a couple seat with the head coach of the Patriots, which you are constantly reporting on. At the very least, the optics of that are absolutely horrible. Horrible. So I don't know what's going to come of this. It's very interesting, but guess what? It is what it is. And you got grown folks making grown folks decisions.